I thought about a lot of things that what I should talk about. Because the topics that engineering educators talk about last few years um, were like fourth industrial revolution related core technologies such as AI, big data, IoT, and how we incorporate teaching this technology into the curriculum was one of the topics that I considered. And in the education pedagogy like PBL or flipped learning is talked about a lot in Korea and then actually practiced a lot. So thought about that too. And skill set learning environment is another one. And there were education reform plan proposed by innovation centers. But I picked the topic of online learning because this is what is in our mind in last few months because of all this unplanned or so unforeseen the pandemic spread and really affected our education environments. So I picked my topic as what we have learned during the times of uncertainties. So we'll talk about our online education experience in Korea. Time of uncertainties in Korea. The pandemic started to hit Korea. It started last year, end of last year, but it wasn't in a level that we were very concerned. But however, it starts out to break out, especially in the city of Daegu. So all of a sudden, that we had to face lockouts and well, also more severe in Daegu, but not in rest of areas. But had to ready for the school, and then the problems started to occur. Our normal school year begins beginning of March, and then it's also beginning of spring semester. And in universities, the semester ends usually the mid June, and then a fall semester again starts in early September. And this year, it didn't really happen. Start of the semester was postponed by 2 weeks, and it was announced in about mid-February. And then end of February, the online lectures in the universities were announced. But when it announced, it was for the first 4 weeks, and there were possibility that we will go back to the classroom lectures. And so we started in the second week of March. 2 weeks later than our normal schedule, we started our online lectures. But 2 weeks later, the online lectures were extended for another 4 weeks. So we continued on another 2 weeks, and by mid-April, the online lectures were extended till end of the semester. So we got very busy with planning out the semesters and making changes and start really worrying about how we're going to assess or evaluate our students. And our finals were offline, and that we had to spread out in 3 weeks so that way we got really used our classrooms and about 20 students in each classroom, and we had to schedule out so it's not going to be crowded by students. And then finally the spring semester ended. By the time it ended, we were expecting another semester of online lectures, and it did came true that we started fall semester on time with online, and most classes are online. And plan was like experiments or some needs like a hands-on training was going to have offline classes. But however, the COVID situation got a little worse. We started to get like a few hundreds of new cases in September, so per day. So in cases, so I don't, at least in my university, offline lectures were not allowed up to now. So how we dealt with these uncertainties, and here we is mostly the faculties. The university had a role of selecting lecture formats and a platform. So formats will be either pre-recorded and synchronous. In Korean university, more universities went with the pre-recorded lectures, and then I guess the less number was the synchronous. And some university allowed actually the both formats. And university also went out and chose the platform, and the most widely used was the Zoom, and then second one was the Cisco WebEx. But then again, other software like Google Meets or Microsoft Meets were were used by the few universities or the few faculties. University provided faculty training, but it was a very minimal training of like a half an hour video. So faculties need to stand up to obtain the skills we need to run online lectures. So we formed small group practice sessions to get used to the platform and also used to all the functions that it has. We logged into each other's classroom and shared the PPTs, and we actually participated in lecture and gave a lecture. I also had a practice sessions with the students, so to run the lecture smoothly. Second thing we had to do was get equipment ready. I was lucky that I had a tablet PC with pen functions. It was actually a notebook with a good functions. So it was a very, very useful in the first week. But I had a problem writing on a screen, having a screen like erected 45 between 45 degrees and 90 degrees. So I added a webcam. It was very difficult to get at the time because all the inexpensive webcams were all out. So I got the webcam ready, and then about 6 weeks into the time that I got the desk computer added to the screen because it has a wide screen, so now I could see students' face at least, so I could communicate better with them. Students first complained that they don't have a webcam or they don't have a PC with a camera, but when I asked them to use their cell phone to send their video, they all participated, especially when I mentioned it'll be reflected in their evaluations. We all had to revise our lecture PPTs for digital delivery, that we had to make a different formats and different things. And I had to make a lot of PPTs with a lot of gaps so we could fill it together during the class. Some of the faculty worked real hard to design remote experiments, and some were actually came up with the very good ones. And we finally start talk about education. Faculty start asking each other questions about improving lecture quality, so which was the good thing came out of this COVID situation. I don't know why my keyboard works. The keyboard doesn't work, so I had to sort of move to next slides this way. After a semester of quite unplanned online lectures, a lot of people took a survey of how it went, and I brought the survey results from one from the NAEK conducted by Professor Cho and Kang from Yonsei University, and I just brought a couple items from their study. And because they study over 4,000 students and 100 faculties participated, so we looked at level of satisfaction on online classes, and it turned out that faculty worked hard. I mean, I really admit that the faculties around me, as my departments in my university, actually worked very hard to deliver online lectures. And so they were very satisfied with what they have done. And if you look at very satisfied and satisfied, it was like 72%. But students didn't think so, because when their level of satisfaction, when you look at the numbers, very satisfied and satisfied was only 38%. If you just look at the average out of the 5.0 scale, the number doesn't look too much different, but actually looking at the distribution, that students, what faculty thought the level of satisfaction wasn't getting from students. So